Hi, I'm Leon Lovelace, and this is Unstoppable Force. Now, I need your help. I need you to go to my PayPal link. I'll put a link in the description box below or on the screen right here. So you can go to that, donate to my campaign, so I could do the show full time instead of just part time. But I'm gonna continue on a little bit more with my story from listverse.com about how the meat industry is negatively affecting life here on Earth. I think I finished the last video with how the meat industry uses way too much water, and that creates a lot of droughts in different areas across the world. So in number 6, it uses almost half the land on Earth. Along with the water use, livestock also take up a lot of land. In some cases, this is land for the animals themselves, but in cases where the animals are kept in cages, it comes from using the land to grow feed. Using beef as an example, every cow uses a net total of 2 to 5 acres of land, depending on the farms. All of that adds up. At current, the meat industry uses 45% of the world's land mass. In the United States, livestock production takes up more than half of the overall land mass. The U.S. can handle that for now, but as the world population grows and demand increases, more and more land will have to be converted across the world. The overuse of land contributes to desertification. 1/5 of the world is experiencing desertification crisis, and then becomes unusable for any sort of agriculture. The deserts of the world are growing, and one of the key contributors is livestock production and overgrazing. By using up so much of land, overgrazing is also decreasing the biodiversity of regions and doing irreparable ecological harm. And even with local livestock raising for meat, it's still not really all that great of an idea, because you still have to convert some of the land for grazing, especially for cows. But if we start reducing our meat consumption, and some people also start to raise cattle locally, it will help out with less land use. But we still definitely have to consume a lot less meat, especially beef. And number 5, it diverts grain from countries that could use it. World hunger is a very real problem, and it continues to increase. About 800 million people are undernourished. Even in developed countries, malnourished people account for 12.6% of the population, while in Africa, 1 out of 4 people experience hunger problems. Hunger accounts for 45% of deaths for children under 5 years old. Thousands of organizations are trying to end world hunger, but they all hide a secret. The world has enough food, it's just not going to people. It's no secret that cows and other livestock require a lot of food to grow to full size. Estimating the amount of feed, I'll skip a little bit, but it falls somewhere between 2 to 6 pounds of feed per pound of finished meat. This means that the meat provides fewer calories than it takes to produce it. If the raw grain used for feed went into producing edible food for humans, those calories would directly go to hungry stomachs. Of the countries that are experiencing hunger problems, 82% use sizable portions of their grain to feed cows and pigs that would be eaten in first world countries. And then when I was taking environmental biology, we talked about how only 10% of the energy goes up from one level of the food chain to the next. So that's why when you go from the low levels like plants and just insects and other animals that just directly eat the plants, for the most part there's a lot more of those species than animals at the very top, like eagles, tigers, lions, polar bears, stuff like that, because there's just so little energy that gets transferred that there's literally not enough energy to support a huge ton of, say, eagles in a certain area or in a certain region. And then that's why, and it's normally not explained like that, but that's why it's more efficient for people to eat a lot more just vegetables and fruits than it is meat. death because so much energy is used by that organism so they could live. So that's why it's really not advantageous, especially right now and in the future, for us to eat a whole bunch of meat. And here we go with number 4. It increases worldwide obesity and cancer risk. Recent studies have shown various, well, I'm going to skip a little bit. Recent studies have shown various negative effects of meat consumption. Red meat specifically is linked to an increased chance of cardiovascular disease and decreased heart health. Beyond the risk of obesity, eating processed meats have also been recently shown to very slightly increase the risk of certain types of cancer. The common refrain is that meat is necessary to give enough protein for healthy development. And then it talks about how the meat industry bribes governments to perpetuate it. The average first world consumer consumes twice as much protein as they actually need, mostly due to inaccurate advertising and publications about nutrition. When it comes down to it, vegetables and fruit give the essential protein content necessary for maintaining health without risk of obesity or cancer. Fortunately, the widespread influence of meat producers has spread the myth that dangerous meat products are the ideal form of protein intake. So some of you might say, hey Leon, so do you actually do some of this stuff? Do you not eat all that much meat? Actually, that is correct. I don't eat as much meat as I used to. Because it's like 3, 4, 5 years ago, I used to eat a lot of meat. Because I'd eat probably, I think it was 2 or 3 hamburgers every week. Just straight up. Every week I'd eat 2 or 3 hamburgers at a local burger shop. They're pretty good, so. And then I wasn't even trying to be environmentally friendly, so a lot of that is why. And then actually what I started to do is started to say, and I was kind of fat too, because even though I was working out and I was really buff and muscular, I still had a fat like beer gut, just from, well, it was mostly from drinking too much soda. But I said, you know what, I'm going to drink less soda so I can be healthier. So I started drinking less soda. That helped a lot. Then when I really cut out the red meat and really quit going to that burger shop like 3 times a week, then that really dropped my meat consumption. And then at home, I'll eat some chicken and some ground turkey. Not a whole ton of beef at home, but now that I'm really trying to limit the meat intake, I'm definitely not eating all. I'm even eating less turkey and less chicken than I did before. And so what I do is I substitute a lot of the chicken and the turkey with peanut butter, because I need some protein, and then sometimes vegetables will give it to me, but just for me personally, I need direct substitute. Beans also helps a lot, but I eat more beans than I used to, but really peanut butter is a heavy thing. And also just eat some mixed nuts or walnuts and almonds too. But since almonds use a whole lot of water and most of that's grown in California, and that's another issue, is that we're having way too much of our food just being produced and grown in California, then shipped across the whole United States. So one thing we also need to do is start buying more from local farms. Doing that also will help with the drought issue, and use less fossil fuels. But I'm getting a little bit off tangent, but yeah, it's really hard to just directly cut out like half the meat you consume, so you're only eating maybe one small portion of meat a day, or one small portion of meat every other day, something like that. Another thing I've been able to do is also eat black bean patty sandwiches at my work, and since I like their black bean patties, that's really helped a lot. So I don't really have to worry about, should I get turkey or chicken every time I eat sandwiches there, which isn't too much now. But when I was eating there more, it mattered a lot more. But now that been able to switch to the black bean patty, it's pretty good. So I mean quite a bit less meat. So I might eat an egg like one a day or every other day or something like that. Even then, people might say, "Oh, that's still a little too much meat." But for me personally, I still have to have a little bit, because if I don't eat that much meat, and since I have glaucoma and I can't eat a whole bunch of carbs, I could just mow through a shitload of salad and a shitload of soup and still be really hungry and still not be full. So I can do pretty well with it, but I'm not just like straight vegetarian or just straight vegan, because people that could do that, that's pretty amazing, because they're really helping out the environment that way. But me, I haven't been able to do that. But another thing I have been able to do is, instead of switching off of whey protein, because whey protein is made from milk, so also to help with the environment, try to eat less meat or eat less cheese and milk products. So also eat a lot less cheese than I used to. And instead of buying whey protein, buying soy protein really helps out a lot too. So those are the few things I've been able to do, and it's really helped out a lot. So I just need to actually try to see if I can pull other people with me to say, hey, we need to help out the environment and eat less meat.